Nkosi Johnson was only 12 years old when he died after having AIDS after being born with HIV. At the time of his death in 2001, Nkosi was the longest surviving child born with HIV. Today, which would have been Nkosi's 31st birthday, Google is paying tribute to him on their homepage, Doodle. Nkosi's mum was also HIV positive and became too ill to look after him. So, a Johannesburg woman, Gail Johnson, became his foster mother. She hit the news in 1997 after challenging a school in Melville for refusing to enroll him because of his HIV status. After this, new anti-discrimination policies were put in place, and that stopped children being banned from schools based on their health. And the founding director of Nkosi's Haven and Nkosi's adoptive mother, Gail Johnson, joins us now. Very good evening once again to you, Gail. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So, how does it feel like just seeing his image on that Google Doodle?
It was absolutely gorgeous. I knew it was going to happen, but then I forgot because they approached me before the end of last year. And then, of course, everyone started contacting me, and it was just stunning, just my little man all over again.
And I want to talk about the significance of seeing your little man, as you say, address an international AIDS conference here in Durban, and then there's another one in Atlanta. Just juxtapose the thoughts that you had back then and now, the significance of that.
You know, when he spoke at the World AIDS Conference, I was a neurotic mess. And he was pretty nervous when he saw the size of the stadium, because I'd said to him, look, this is not a school hall you're going to talk at, when he agreed to talk. So, you know, he stood there, he made his statement, and he fought his cause. And now a lot of that fight has been overcome, and I think a lot has been done, but there is still a lot of work to do.
And do you think it's because of the power and simplicity of his message back then, saying care for us and accept us, we are all human beings?
I think that was part of it, but you know, the Western world had been branded with figures like 50 million people in sub-Saharan Africa, and that's very difficult to comprehend. So when he spoke at the World AIDS Conference, he was suddenly in your sitting room, and I think that's when people sat up. It actually meant something that sub-Saharan Africa had a problem and South Africa had a problem. So he gave AIDS a face, absolutely no doubt about that. And I think it made people realize that there was a crisis, you know. And yeah.
So let's talk about you and how your life was changed. And did you imagine that when you decided to adopt him, the battles that I mentioned earlier on, which led to that anti-discrimination legislation? And I mean, let's not forget, this is South Africa that we're talking about and its own historical legacy.
No, I never imagined it. You know, because firstly, when I took him on, we were told sort of maximum 9 months. Because he wasn't full-blown, but he was very sick. So, and without any ARB intervention, no, I didn't expect 9.5 years at all. So it was a shock to the system, but it was lovely seeing him develop. Because after we opened the first Nkosi's Haven, and he realized just what was happening to HIV/AIDS infected people, he wanted to do more. And I said to him, you can do what you want. You're the one who's infected in this family. You know, go for it. So yeah, you know, it's just... Yeah, no, he took on the fight all right.
So as we reflect on that then and now, on that Google Doodle, what is markedly different about the time and circumstances then and the time and circumstances now, especially when we talk about people living with HIV/AIDS?
I think a lot of the fear has gone. because people were petrified, absolutely petrified of an infected person. I was asked when we took Nkosi on, do you boil his sheets? Do you boil his cutlery and crockery? And, and it was that kind of an issue. And of course, in the communities where people were just dying, the fear around HIV/AIDS was frightening. Now there is a lot more acceptance. I think there's still quite a high level of stigma, and which there shouldn't be, and I think there's still quite a high level of denialism. Certainly, we experienced that. We admitted a young girl last week. She weighs 21 kgs. She shouldn't be there. She should weigh 54 kgs. You know what I mean? So, it's improved drastically. And of course, the mother-to-child transmission has improved magnificently. But yeah, I think we still have a problem.
And just as you're speaking about some of those pluses for Nkosi's Haven, the work that you've been able to do and how you're impacting on people, I'm just intrigued especially about that issue that there's still a lot of denialism. And people would say, but how, when there's been a great improvement in terms of access to the medication, the kinds of medication, people no longer have to take multiple pills. Do you think that has improved a lot or made it more difficult? Because I've heard some people saying or lamenting that the fact that some people are taking one pill now has somehow led to people being lax about it, the dangers of it. Are we more hopeful or are we more cynical?
A bit of both. It makes it so much easier to only take one pill if you're an HIV positive person. But I think it's more cynical. You're in this position because it's self-inflicted. So appreciates what's been done for you type of thing. So I don't know. I don't know how we can turn this all around and just make it a very normal existence. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And, of course, with the rate of infection amongst our younger people, that is a concern. And why is it happening,
And in light of what you're saying, are we honoring Nkosi's memory, his legacy enough if it's such a high infection rate, especially amongst younger people?
Look, he would have been 31 today. So a 15, 16-year-old hadn't even been born. Or just been born. So, no, they don't know. They don't know the tragedies of what was happening in the cemeteries, let alone Nkosi standing up and fighting for their rights. So, although Nkosi is in some history books and English books, the awareness of the fight that happened for ARV rollout, for prevention of mother-to-child transmission, our young people have no idea.
Wow, what a profound note to end it on. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Founding Director of Nkosi's Haven, Gail Johnson.